Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, and we are live. And today's main topic, the clipped segment of today's show, is going to be with my man Vito. What's up, Vito?
How you doing, Andy? I'm excited to be here talking about the most important topic of the day, cartoon skunks.
Now, let's be careful of the words. There's been a lot of whatever kind of culture he's been creating. Please help me for the YouTube censors not go there too drastically. But Vito, as well as Paul's in the building. Paul's over there. Paul, say hi.
Hey, everyone.
There he is. It activates when you guys talk.
We can say Pepe has consent issues. That's
sure.
a friendly way of saying it.
Yes, thank you. Say it carefully, sadly. But we're here to talk about this controversy of Pepe Le Pew, as well as the fact that it's an old script has now resurfaced, written by Max Landis, a Pepe Le Pew movie, which we all had the opportunity to read because he dropped it online on his Instagram. And we're going to talk about it. I didn't get to finish it. Vito did pretty much, and Paul did. That's why Paul's joining us to sort of so we can all talk about what this means. Because, look, I do have to talk about, so there's two things I want to talk about in this video, right? Pepe Le Pew, and I do have to address the Max Landis sort of things that are out there and about him, this movie. But, and we have to talk about sort of the controversy of Pepe Le Pew in general. Let's start there. Let's start with Pepe Le Pew in general, because Pepe Le Pew, as I keep saying it over and over again, Pepe Le Pew was, there was a New York Times piece that raised a stink about the Looney Tunes character.
Was this a piece or was this a tweet by them?
No, it was a whole op-ed piece. It was about Dr. Seuss. It was about Pepe Le Pew. It was all of it. And I didn't really think too much about it. I sort of avoided it. Then there was a whole thing trying to get rid of Speedy Gonzalez. And I was like, what? Come on. There was a really good tweet out there. It was like, Latinx has done way worse for the community than Speedy Gonzalez ever did, which is fact.
They love Speedy Gonzalez in the Latinx.
Yeah, he was
I don't know what Latino
don't call him
community.
Latinx. Latinx is not what they don't like that term.
Every time I hear Latinx, the X-Men theme starts playing. Latinx. That's all I hear.
We need a Spanish version of that for that.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Latinx men.
All right.
But anyway, the Speedy Gonzalez, that's not an issue. That was a non-thing that nobody really, no one in the Latin community was freaking out over that. But the Pepe Le Pew stuff, I didn't care. And then I went and I watched one. I went and I watched this clip, and I got to be careful because I don't want to show my words here, but he is kind of yikesy. Like, so here's a clip. I gotta be careful too and showing too much.
A lady, feminine, female, girl, skunk.
Oh, great Mel Blanc voice.
A young man's love lightly turns to thoughts of fancy.
Fancy. Now there's.
Keep your guard up, chérie.
Keep your guard up, chérie.
Hello, young lover, whoever you are.
Whoever you are.
I am Pepe Le Pew.
She's like half conscious.
Everyone should have a hobby, don't you think? Mine is making love.
Wait, really?
It's making love.
Oh man!
So
I did not know he got that graphic.
Oh, he does. This whole I'm gonna keep playing it, but then it's the smell that's making her really bothered. Okay, whatever.
Right.
Look, he doesn't ever let go. He's kissing all. It's a little much for today's standards. I can see why people would be like, yeah, this doesn't fly today. I get that. At the same time, this was done in a different era. This was done, and she did turn the tables on him. It was not as often, but she did.
Well,
there were moments where Penelope, the cat, was in love with him, to be fair. And as I've talked about this with other people as I sort of reacted, was the fact that, this was a what not to do, right, is what a lot of people are sort of saying. Well, Pepe Le Pew was like, of course we didn't take him seriously. This was, not what it was. But that's not what the New York Times op-ed was. They were saying Pepe Le Pew had created a whole culture of this, of why so many men are problematic because Pepe Le Pew taught them,
You bring up a very good point, is that Pepe Le Pew is not the villain necessarily, but he's obnoxious.
Yes.
And you're supposed to recognize that, this is not how you get girls. Look at how repulsed she is. This is how you don't act when you're in love. But it's the overzealous Frenchman and whatever else.
That was the other thing. It's all like a take on the French love and how crazy they are. But
it's a cultural joke. The difference in cultures.
He never really gets his comeuppance. Like, she kicks him and she acts him, but he's always like, hard to get. And then there's this moment where she's literally like crawling up out of fear. Like, look at this. She's literally panting, like trying to get away from him. And then she grabs whatever's nearby, and it's him. And she's like, hey, my chérie, It's like
I'm
insane.
laughing.
And
I'm
then
loving it.
as a kid, it's sort of like,
Because
oh,
it's funny.
silly.
That's why you're
silly
laughing, because
Pepe.
it's funny.
Well, it's like, yeah, but in today's, I don't know. I can see, Paul, why it's problematic is what all I'm saying. Like I do see this.
I mean, the comeuppance though is that he doesn't get the girl because he's.
But look at this. I just want to end on the last. So after all this like torture and he's nonstop doing her, trying to get her and kissing her and without consent, all this stuff, she kicks him again, runs off, and listen to this.
Flirt.
It's like, yikes. It is. I'm sorry, but there are moments of Pepe Le Pew that absolutely are yikes. Even Chappelle did a whole bit about it. Like,
but the question is, who was
like,
this for? Looney Tunes were for all
Yeah.
ages. These weren't necessarily for kids. Is the other?
Well,
thing.
it went
that's
over
what I was
the.
about to say.
It went over the heads of kids, of course. I don't think kids got this, but that's the debate right now of like, well, should this still be around? And look, no, you shouldn't cancel or censor anything. I think we all have to live with the history that we have, so we can sort of look. Is this worthy of a conversation though? Of like, yeah, that was kind of messed up back then. There's a lot of stuff that was messed up back then. Let's be honest, it doesn't play in today's standards. But I have to say, I do think, and to guess who chimed in on the thread, guys, as I put this out there. Gina Carano herself jumped in and was like, yeah, not gonna lie, Pepe has always been creepy as hell. So look, everybody who's probably against the cancel culture loves her, and even she agrees, yeah, he's a bit of a creep. But that's
to be fair, I wish we had some female perspective here. I've never been chased down by an aggressive Frenchman.
Sure,
Paul,
yeah.
I don't know if you've experienced that. Hopefully not.
But I was just gonna say, like,
An
yes,
aggressive French skunk.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, look, yeah, there's I can see why some people would be like, yeah, that doesn't fly today. I get that. At the same time, it's a cartoon. This isn't cancellation. This is a studio decides to retire a character and not bring it back or do it if they want. That's what's happening. And there's just some people online saying they don't like it.
It's one thing to say. It's one thing to say this is a more adult style of humor, and we've clearly made the Looney Tunes brand a more kid-friendly thing, so we're going to avoid that as much as possible. But when you start saying, well, this is pretty much responsible for, consent culture, lack of consent culture, no, you're not. Come on, it's nonsense. I watched Pepe Le Pew cartoons. It never made me think I got to chase women down and whatever.
Well, I was
not to get into details.
My dad and mum used to watch the Looney Tunes with us, and my mum would always be like, "That's your dad," always with me. And they love each other. They're still together. But that was the joke between my parents, that he was Pepe Le Pew and she was the cat trying to get away from him. Like, so I don't know. That's the perspective I have of it.
Yeah, it's a generational thing. It's the same thing with my parents. Like, oh, we always leave me alone, but it's always done out of love and respect, and like that's just sort of a right thing. So I well said, Paul, because I agree. I was trying to find James Gunn did a whole thread about just sort of like this isn't cancel culture.
Just go to Vito. Vito did a retweet of it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's probably buried now because I tweet so much. If you go to search Twitter, do @JamesGunn Pepe.
Did you do?
That'll probably get you.
Yeah,
that's what I always do. You can do. Try that.
Did something. Oh, here we go. This was the thread. Thank you. Yes, smart. Stop calling everything cancel culture because you're too dim to have a nuanced opinion. People can be offended by something or think something sucks, and that's not cancel culture. It's free speech. To all those writing me about the times people get unfairly attacked, yes, that sucks, but that doesn't mean every time someone is offended by something, it's cancel culture. Calling everything that is knee-jerk response destroys your point. I like this because I agree with him on these points. It frustrates me as well. I don't think there are many people in here, left or the right, who think Harvey Weinstein shouldn't have been canceled for what he did. Now, I do have a thought on that, actually. Harvey Weinstein wasn't canceled, it turns out. And I heard this from somebody, and it's true, and I didn't realize Harvey Weinstein had a criminal investigation going against him. Harvey Weinstein was going to go down no matter what happened. And apparently Ronan Farrow knew that, and that's part of the reason he wrote what he wrote, because he knew it was about to go down. They were investigating him for a long time, and the reality is he's a monster that we all agree on because he was a criminal that was caught as a criminal and put to criminal charges and went to jail. That's not really canceled. That's criminal prosecution and someone doing ferocious, terrible things. Yeah. So it's, again, people use that lingo wrong, and I want to correct it because it's not actually cancellation either. Likewise, there are nuanced conversations. I think most Latin people love Speedy Gonzalez, which is a pretty good argument that he shouldn't be canceled. But Pepe Le Pew, to me, at least, is offensive because of the way he treats that cat. Anyway, and then he talks about Dr. Seuss, etc. But I do think he has a good point there. I think this is a well said.
Well, the first part of his point, this idea that it's free speech. I don't think anyone's denying that it's free speech, and I don't think that's ever been the issue. Yeah, you can say whatever you want about something. You can say you're offended by something. That's not the cancel culture. Cancel culture is when you go a step beyond. Something can both be free speech and be this kind of cancel culture. Now, my definition of cancel culture, and I don't think everybody agrees on the definition, but my idea of cancel culture is trying to sabotage or ruin someone based on either a falsification or an exaggeration of the harm that they have caused. Now, Harvey Weinstein, I think everybody treated that situation. We knew what he did. We knew how serious it was. So, no, that's not cancel culture. Cancel culture is when you go, what was that one thing where, who's the guy who plays the harp? Mark Ruffalo made a movie about like a transgender person, but he didn't get a transgender actor. And you start saying, well, that's going to result in people, dying and destroying the transgender community. To me, that's cancel culture because you're exaggerating the harm that's going to come from that action, or just outright making things up, falsehoods, that sort of thing. That's the same thing with this Pepe Le Pew. I think you're exaggerating the damage it's going to cause. Same thing with, Dr. Seuss. Having, 60-year-old books sitting on a shelf is not, whatever. I don't see the amount of harm that's going to come from that. So to me, that's cancel culture, is either lying or exaggerating the harm being caused by an individual.
Well, we could do a whole stream on what that is, but I like hearing your thought. But I don't disagree with your, but I think there's more to it of just like this social outrage of this isn't okay anymore is another version of it too. And case in point here.
But if society believes that, if the majority of society believes something is harmful, the will of the people overrides the free market, and you're now, causing harm to your organization.
Like there is a lot of nuance to the term, and I agree it's overused like crazy. Like Eminem was not canceled. Some idiots were trying to cancel Eminem due to some lyrics, but they missed the whole point of what he was rapping about in that Rihanna song, and that's not a version of cancellation.
Again, misrepresenting.
So yeah, sure, but I want to make this conversation. I want to focus on Pepe Le Pew. Whether he's canceled or not doesn't matter. He's a cartoon, so it doesn't really matter.
Pepe did all those things he's accused of, and he needs to be removed.
Exactly.
He's horrible.
And he's removed from the Space Jam sequel as the sort of the latest thing. So. Look, at the end of the day, I don't have a problem with any of this.
This is confusing. Was there a Pepe scene that was written?
You're
That's
right.
what
Actually,
I heard.
What's interesting
I heard it was LeBron explaining consent to Pepe Le Pew. Is that true?
No, it wasn't LeBron. It was a film. Here was. It's crazy. This woman, Grease Santo, was set to appear in a Casablanca-like Rick's Cafe. Pepe, playing a bartender, starts hitting on a woman at the bar, played by Santo. He begins kissing her arm, which she pulls back, and slamming Pepe in the chair next to hers. She then pours her drink on Pepe, slaps him hard, sends him spinning on a stool, which is then stopped by LeBron James's hand. James and Bugs Bunny are looking for Lola. Pepe knows her whereabouts. Pepe then tells the guys what Penelope Cat has filed a restraining order against him. James makes his remark in the script that Pepe can't grab with her tunes without the consent. Yes.
What?
Upon learning
what a terrible scene.
But apparently learning about their scene, that Santo's scene was cut with Pepe, she was very upset. The actress-singer is a victim of, I can't say this, spoken out against it, or even recorded a debut single back in 2018 with to empower women to stand up against this sort of stuff. Santo even has a nonprofit which is aimed to empower victims, yada yada. So she was this was such a big deal for Grease Santo to be involved in this movie, even though Pepe is a cartoon character. If anyone was going to slap a harasser like him, she wished it would be her. Now the scene is cut, and she doesn't have the power to influence the world through younger generations who will be watching Space Jam 2 to let younger girls and boys know that Pepe's behavior is unacceptable. This is insane.
Parents aren't doing their parental job anymore to raise their kids to not be sexual harassers. Like, why are they relying on a cartoon movie to define their child's
Paul's head's exploding
direction? The rest, I hate it.
This is absurd to me. The fact
this enrages me. This scene.
They literally are saying he's a creep and a predator, but then this woman's like, "Well, you can't cancel because I slapped him, and I'm supposed to teach everyone that he is." They want to cancel it. Anyway, I wanted to cancel him. I didn't want them to cancel me. Why didn't I get to cancel him? That's how absurd it's getting. But anyway, look, to be honest, I don't care about Pepe Le Pew. I don't care. I don't think he's that interesting of a character. And I was not surprised that people were upset with him given the old clips that I saw. Some people are very upset. Like, how dare you? It's funny, yada, yada. So all of this is interesting because whatever, Pepe Le Pew is clearly not going to come back anytime soon. But what's very interesting is as I was sort of reporting on this, I couldn't stop thinking about the the fact that I remember Max Landis, who was a regular on Movie Fights back in the day for a long time, talking about the fact out there that he had written a Pepe Le Pew movie. And Max Landis has a lot of, I want to be careful here because I'm not doing this stream to hate on Max Landis because he's been hated on plenty. And I wasn't there. I don't know what's happening. It's not my place. It sounds like he's working on himself, doing his own thing. He apparently has sort of come out with some of his own statements and things based on allegations that happened. Again, this stream is not to hate on Max Landis. If you're out there and want to do that, go do it on your stream. I feel like the dude's been through a lot already, and it's not my place to go on and sort of talk about it. I will say I have talked to Max a few times. We were never that close. He was on Movie Fights. He was an amazing pitcher. I always respected him for that. He was very nice to us, all of the Screen Junkies crew. He always showed up when we needed to, last minute at Comic-Cons and things. So I always respected and had no issues with Max Landis. He was always a gentleman. When I got canceled, he did come out and say some things that rubbed me the wrong way because he wasn't there. And I had heard some things about him, but I never tried to judge or believe what I heard. So for him to sort of throw me under the bus as quickly as he did rubbed me the wrong way. And so we reached out and we talked, and he was sort of very distant and clearly made his own thing. So I sort of, and I've commented a little bit on this before, so I just want to update you guys. Anyway, more recently we've talked again, and because of this and all of this, I asked him some stuff, and he talked to me a little bit about it. And I want to make it clear, like, I got no beef with Max Landis. I'm not here to crap on him. If you want to, go look it up, whatever you want to think about him, go do what you want. I think the man deserves his chance to go do what he needs to do now. No one should be punished forever. At a certain point, we can't keep shaming people forever. It's not good, and it's not my place to shame him. I wasn't there, so I'm not going to get into that. But I have spoken to him. We're good now. It sounds like he is working on things, and I'm proud of him for doing that. He's doing his own thing. He's creating some stuff again, and good on him. He put this script out as sort of a way to sort of put it out there, and I want to go through it now that we've all read it. But here was the interesting sort of to wrap up the backstory of what I've talked about Max. I don't want to get into too much of his history or any of that, but he put this out on his Instagram. Full Pepe script I wrote for Warner Brothers, now in my story. This was always a controversial one for many reasons, except I think if you read the script, you'll find there's literally nothing controversial about it. I think it's you never believe this. You never believe this, but making a problematic of character not problematic is simply as easy as, just not writing them that way. Wonderfully ironic that what killed the script wasn't controversy, but instead Space Jam being greenlit. I'd never written a script for an animated movie before, so I went pretty hard on description in a way that I usually don't, but ultimately I was very proud of the work I did on the project, and I'm happy to share it. I knew it was an uphill battle going in because I myself find the traditional interpretation of the character very problematic. See, even he's agreeing. I think you'll find that with some tweaks, this completely fictional drawing of a skunk is indeed capable of amusing you in a way that doesn't make you uncomfortable, and in fact maybe makes you smile. And so that was what he wrote. And so if you go to his story, he sort of shared some other, he did it, sort of went on a rant. How do I go back? He goes on a rant in these stories that'll probably be disappearing in a set, so I'll share them with you here. But he talks about sort of, talking about the ridiculousness of, like, don't write him the way you want. He's not a real person. Yeah. You can sort of control how he does this and make him, he gets in a deal. He also then goes into, like, if you're going to cancel him, then cancel all the Looney Tunes because their history with racism is insane and real. And you can go Google that yourself. In fact, he talks about the censored 11, Looney Tunes arc, which is problematic as well if you want to go do the homework. And then here's sort of him talking about, I'll let him talk.
This Pepe Le Pew cartoon, and I found this out while writing a Pepe Le Pew movie for Warner Brothers, ends with her chasing him around. It's that easy to change, that they already changed it. Just saying, if Bugs Bunny wasn't racist, would he have really been in those cartoons? Because I know publicly Bugs Bunny's like, whoa, can he dress up as a woman? And we all congratulate him for it. But I think he's a racist. Look at an actor like Bugs Bunny or Daffy Duck or Superman or Batman. You'd think, like, they would never do anything racist. Wonder Woman would never do anything racist. But look at the projects they've chosen in the past. These real people are actually quite problematic.
So then it goes to proceed this ridiculous image of Superman who turned himself Japanese going into undercover. He sort of is just pointing out how ridiculous. Look at
Wait,
Mickey.
that was Superman?
That was Superman.
I couldn't even tell.
That is Superman.
Oh, that's a good disguise.
They'll never notice me here. And then here's Mickey
wearing the giant.
You know,
ass
imagine woke Mickey, the Disney Corporation, Bob Chapek, trying to defend this right now. It's ridiculous.
Lordy.
And here you go. You got Wonder Woman doing the same problem. I got to be careful of the stuff I read here. Here's Batman. So anyway, every character, if you go deep enough, has some sort of
seriously want to
problematic
see
problem.
how fucking easy it is to make Pepe not a creep? Okay, fine. Check this out.
So then he put it up there, and there it is. And so he put it up there to sort of talk about how the script, and then as I have it here it is, City of Lights by Max Landis, and Pepe Le Pew in City of Lights, and we all looked at it. And so now I want to talk about this because, look, Max has gotten a lot of heat, a lot of trouble, a lot of mud slung his way, and accusations and things, but not going to talk about it. Let's talk about the script. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. And I got to say, when I looked at the script, at least I got to about 40 pages in, and I want to finish it. I really liked it. I thought he did a really good job at not making Pepe creepy at all. It's an action animation film where he turns Pepe into a fixer of sorts, where he's sort of very confidently running around the streets of Paris, along the Eiffel Tower, from these sort of like French dogs that are after him. There's sort of an underground gangster black market area, and Pepe's sort of like the careless gentleman who walks through and everybody looks up to and everybody likes him. And Penelope's like a street cat trying to get back to the States, and she's a con artist cat. And so they sort of justify this sort of back and forth where Penelope's using Pepe to like get what she wants and justifies why she's like disguising herself as the skunk. And the script does a really interesting thing of setting the first half, as he sort of says, the first half with Pepe sort of chasing Penelope, and then it switches where Penelope's actually realizing she loves him as he's sort of distancing himself from her to follow him because she's realizing he loves her. It's a really, actually, I think there were a few funny moments for me. There's some really great description of action scenes and dialogue stuff that was going through, and I gotta be honest, I thought he really did figure out a way to write this script in a non-creepy way to make the character more likable, more interesting, and I gotta say I'm impressed. I didn't expect that. I think it just once again proves, let's not just judge a book by its cover. Just because the name Max Landis means a lot of things to a lot of people doesn't mean they're true. Doesn't mean he isn't a person who can, earn redemption or, stuff back. It also doesn't mean the script's not really good, damn good, and actually does a good job at sort of avoiding the things that you would think maybe it wouldn't. So I wanted to go out there and actually say this because separating the work, especially from the artist and everything else, put it all aside, it's a damn good script in my opinion. Really good start. I'm excited to finish it. I want to go around the bend of what you guys thought. Vito, what did you think of the script that you got to read?
Yeah, I mean, it's a solid script. I had to skim through it. It is I don't know how many pages, 100 or something, but I got the basic gist of the story. And what it really comes down to is that he looked at the Pepe character and he said, okay, what can we take from the Pepe character that works, that isn't this creepy womanizer? Well, not even the womanizing, because he does fall in love with Penelope. He sees her from afar, love at first sight. There's no problem with that. The thing is, though, that he's changed him from being a guy who's going to chase you down and try to cover you in kisses to he's a wannabe suave kind of ladies' man. Again, like you said, a fixer in the community. Everybody knows him. He's running around, kind of the guy who can get you whatever you need at any point in time. And the idea of this guy is kind of the king of the not the underworld, but in France, just known to the seedy underbelly of all these animals living their lives in France. Everybody knows Pepe, and he comes across this situation. Like you said, it's great that it's not one of the things. The classic scenario is always she accidentally ends up looking like a skunk. Here she purposefully is disguising herself as a skunk to get his attention, believing he can help her out. So it's kind of turning that on its head. So, I mean, and again, there's nothing creepy in it. I know people are going to hear, maybe they're going to hear the name Max Landis and make some weird assumption, or also make assumptions about Pepe Le Pew. But he shows, no, you can write that character in a different way. You can do whatever you want. And still kind of retain some of what makes the character work. I think it was a smart how he ended up doing it. It worked for me.
Paul, you did get through the whole thing. You finished it before we went to air, so that's why I want to make sure you got to come in and chime in. What was your review?
Yeah, I really liked it. I could see it in my mind because he was very descriptive with the. Well, he had it's like an action spy sort of gangster film, but with the Looney Tunes in it instead. Like he turns Wile E. Coyote into lead professional. Like he like draws from these other movies and sort of inserts them. And he does it like the Muppets do with their sort of takeoff of movies. And it had a really good message at the end too. Like it said, it has like the flip script where she comes, he's betrayed by her essentially in the middle of the film. And at the end, she sort of helps him. And there's this message at the end that like they're both sort of stinky on the inside. And it's sort of like a message of like all humans have issues.
Imperfect.
But it's
We're
like getting past that. Yeah, we're imperfect. Yeah. Which is really cool. And he has like this little, towards the end, has like this little breakdown about it goes like earlier in his life, and he sort of tells like an early childhood story about himself in Paris. And it really like fleshes out his character compared to like what you just see in the Looney Tunes where he's just chasing a cat the whole time. He actually really has an in-depth character growth in this script. And I really appreciated it, to be honest. Especially the villain. The villain is like a half raccoon, half rooster trying to take over Paris to like reclaim his birthright from when the royals were around. There's this big monarchy like thread line through it as well of like early France before the revolution. Some really interesting, like some stuff that adults will obviously get more than kids. So I think it works. It also works. That's important too. It works like as a child's movie and as an adult's movie too, because it has like both sides.
Yeah, it has a very meta quality. He's mentioning other things. They make some cracks and jokes, and he does mention a lot of sort of movie styles that he's borrowing. And I thought it really worked. Max really writes a very he while you're reading the descriptions in him, he'll be like, "Yeah, this is effing happening because we're in a cartoon. Of course, we're going to see it." Like he'll write these really interesting, like fun ways for the reader of reading, because sometimes reading a script can be tough. Sometimes you're like you need to visualize it all, and sometimes there's not a lot of description. And Max, when he doesn't have the description, sells you at least in sort of the pitch, because that was always for me Max's strongest point, and that's why we always had him back on Movie Fights. I always loved having him on because he'd just sit there and we would listen, and he'd be like just like that on the dime, just flip and tell you this amazing pitch of an idea. Even in his scripts, like I'm fascinated by like how many drafts does it take, how long does he do it, but it just feels like seamless where he's just going through and moving all these beats and moments around, and it all connects, and he spices up. It was really good. It was really good, and I know a lot of people aren't complimenting Max Landis right now. I'll probably be canceled, guys, just for talking about him positively, but I don't care anymore. I'm so over this world where we can't be positive to somebody for something positive they've done. And in this instance, I feel like he did a really good job on the script. And I think my kids would have liked it. I would have enjoyed it. And it would have been something interesting that they would have done, taken a character that maybe we didn't love or not a lot of people loved, and potentially spotlighted him in a new way that I think could have been really good for Warner Brothers versus from what I've heard about Space Jam: A New Legacy, this sounds like garbage. It's like the HBO Max infomercial is what it's turning into. Like, I don't know. Do you guys even know the plot of the Space Jam 2?
Do they play basketball?
No, in Space Jam 2, LeBron gets sucked into a version of the internet. That's the whatever Don Cheadle is a version of an AI archived library of all the content that they have. And
all right, that's a good Andy. It's a good joke. But can you tell me the actual plot of Space Jam 2?
That's
please?
So Don Cheadle is the internet telling him all the archive. And so
I know you like to do bits on this show,
jumping in and
Andy,
out of like internet characters, and tons of different characters are going to pop up beyond just the Looney Tunes. It's going to start showing all of these. It's going to be like Wreck-It Ralph or Lego
Wreck-It Ralph
Movie.
2, the terrible one.
Exactly. It's going to be like Wreck-It Ralph 2 meets Lego Movie meets Space Jam, where I'm told there's masks showing up. The mask, but not Jim Carrey. Lots of stuff will start popping out and going.
Oh, it's one of these.
It's one of these. Is going to be
here's
on HBO
everything
Max.
we own movies.
Hey guys, look at all the stuff.
Why does Warner
library.
Brothers do that? That's so stupid.
I know, they're the ones that did Lego Movie, right? They're like they've done this.
Okay,
before.
but like Lego Batman made me mad because I'm like, Batman has so much cool stuff you can put in the movie, and you're like, what if Voldemort was in it? Like, you don't need it. Why don't you get like any classic Batman? What if King Kong was there? Warner Brothers, I know you own a bunch of stuff, but like, just put this cross contamination of every franchise is killing me. The world is just becoming pop figures. Just go make pop figure movies because that's all you people. I know you have pop figures,
the
Andy,
movie.
but
No, look, but my Funko Pops are like Wayne and Garth and What About Bob? Like,
you don't have
Tommy Boy.
you don't have like every little guy's got to hang out with every other guy.
I don't collect the Marvel ones. I collect like Axel Foley because where else am I going to get an Office Space or Axel Foley figure? Like, I like when Funko Pops give me somebody obscure. You know what I mean, Vito? See,
I know people are saying I'm a hypocrite, but the only pop figures I have is me and a Captain Marvel that I set on fire.
Oh, okay, well that's but you have a reason.
But
I like
every time I complain about pop figures, people go, "Well, you have pop figures. Those are different."
Well, but I like. Excuse me. I like the pop figures that are different. Oh, because you set it on fire.
It's a limited edition Vito set Captain Marvel on fire. I just wanted to do videos where you set action figures on fire, but it didn't catch on.
No, that's a bummer. But the point of my saying, like, yeah, like if I always wanted Shawshank Redemption pop figures. I totally would have bought Andy in red because it's like, where else are you gonna get it? So that's what I like when they do that. But
the worst one is the Kurt Cobain pop figure. I need to get that because that is such a cursed item. That is such a cursed artifact.
He would be so upset at that.
Yeah.
But anyway, and yes, there we go. We got a member, Anthony Renya. Welcome, Anthony, to the memberships. Thank you for supporting. Everyone forgets, Vito, that these streams that we do, it's like going to a bar. You got to do a 2-drink minimum. You got to order a couple drinks to keep things going with all this entertainment.
Your contribution is what makes the magic happen, and it makes you a part of the experience.
So thank you.
And as I say right now, okay, the big budget entertainment has all been put on hold. The only people keeping you entertained are small guys like me, Andy, and Paul.
Yep.
We're busting it out in this horrible time.
So,
and we appreciate you keeping us going.
Thank you, Anthony, for becoming a member and helping keep this channel going. Hopefully a few more will step up and send some stuff over. I appreciate you guys who do it. So when you get it, you get properly thanked out, Anthony. So bravo.
So we don't get a Pepe Le Pew movie because Space Jam is going to
so
the
anyway, long story short, as we both all just sort of compliment the movie, it sounds like we all liked the script. It would have been, I think, I'm suspecting Max would have done a better job and that movie would have been better than Space Jam. Now the problem, it might not have been as successful just because they got LeBron, right? And they're going to throw all these things at it. And it's going to be, hey kids, everything's here. So come see.
Do kids care about LeBron? Like, I never watched basketball as a kid, but I still knew Michael Jordan, you know? Michael Jordan was like bigger than basketball. But I don't think kids these days like care. There's so much other stuff that they care about, Fortnite and whatever other nonsense. I don't think LeBron is a draw for kids, is he?
I don't know, but Wolfsbane just said it spot on. So Space Jam 2 became Emoji Movie 2. Pass. Sadly, yes. It sounds like that's what's going to happen. They haven't really shown you that because I think people are going to be sort of annoyed. Like, we've seen this 100 million times already, but that's coming.
Who's writing Space Jam?
Collaborative Kiwi Studios just upgraded their membership to investor level. That is the highest you can go.
Yes.
Oh, man, there you go. That's how we do it. Another investor on the channel. Collaborative Kiwi Studios. Mass respect. Thank you so much for getting there. That is amazing support. So thank you for supporting and investing in this channel. I'll be reaching out because all my investors, I always reach out personally to make sure you guys are involved, get involved more in the show. So you join so many other amazing investors like David in there, so many. So thank you for joining at the highest level here to support this channel at the highest level. Send some love, some pet planets. Thank you so much for doing that. It really helps things going. But keeping this back on topic before we trim this bit for YouTube, to final words on everything. Yeah, it sounds like Space Jam 2 is going to be the Emoji Movie. And now reading a good chunk of Max's script, I got to say, I really actually prefer where he went. It wasn't actually a story about love. It's a story about sort of trying to find somebody, and it doesn't feel creepy at all. I really liked where it was going. I liked the characters going. As a kid's movie and a Looney Tunes movie goes, this would have been an interesting, fun take. It felt very Muppetsy, like the Muppet, the Great Muppet Caper and stuff when they sort of did a genre movie. And I think that would have been a smart move for Looney Tunes to sort of put out a Tweety movie, put out a Pepe, put out a Roadrunner movie, like figure out sort of fun genres and good filmmakers and screenwriters to take their characters and just do a standalone story. In the days now of HBO Max, like they need more of them more than ever. So that would have made more sense to me than just let's throw everything in the kitchen sink out and along with basketball players for Space Jam 2, right? You guys are excited for that. They're going to search Lola Bunny. Like literally, as I show, they go for Lola Bunny because now she's with the Amazonians, guys. They're literally going to have the Wonder Woman Amazonians in the movie as well because that's where Lola Bunny's going.
Come on, shut up. Shut up. Shut up! Are you kidding me?
Can someone clip that? I want that GIF immediately of Vito. Ah!
Are you kidding me?
I love that I got to reveal that to you.
I'm like, great. That is more offensive to me than showing a kid a Pepe Le Pew cartoon. Shoving this soulless cross-consumer glut of IP, but it's insanity. Just shoving this. Why can't Looney Tunes just be the Looney Tunes? Why do I got to see Wonder Woman in my Looney Tunes movie?
Not Wonder Woman. I don't think they could afford Wonder Woman. The Amazonians.
I hope Voldemort shows up. I hope that kids just learn that whatever. It's just whatever a brand owns, and they just shove it down your throat, because then they can make more action figures. And then, okay? Yes, that's always been the case. It's always been a consumer grab, but it used to have, like, some amount of decency, man. Like, some small shred of respect. Luke Skywalker wasn't hanging out, with Bugs Bunny in return. Oh, whatever.
It might have been better than what we got, though, in Rise of Skywalker.
Although Luke Skywalker was on Muppet Show, but that was funny. That was good.
I love the comments. It sounds like Andy's just making it up off the top of his head, but sadly, I know he's not. Is Andy
it really
serious?
does sound like that. It really sounds like insanity.
Guys, that was the director. He admitted that, so that's happening. Not only did they desexify Lola because she was too much. She's too much. Women basketball players can't be like that. How dare they? No, they got to be strong because women characters have to be strong now. They can't be sexy and strong, God forbid. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
There's such a weird thing with like the sexiness, the cartoon character sexiness not being allowed.
Well, look, I said they are actually, I can't say the word before it, but SL, UT shaming Lola Bunny is what they're doing. They are absolutely shaming her.
I just don't like, when did we decide that was like the most horrific thing in the world? I recently was watching, do you know when we all know Jessica Rabbit, but do you know when those movies came out, they actually made a series of shorts that they played in front of other movies?
Yep.
Yeah. There's one where Jessica Rabbit is a park ranger, and oh my God. And I'm looking at them like, they will never put this on in any cartoon ever. Like, you can't, for some reason, you can't have women be attractive. I don't know. It's bad to know that women can be attractive. I don't understand it. What does that mean? Who is that benefiting?
I don't know, man. But final thoughts as we wrap up this. We'll keep going. But Paul, we'll come to you. Then we'll wrap with our special guest tonight. But Paul, final thoughts on the Pepe controversy, Max's script, etc.
I think the Pepe controversy has been blown out of proportion. I think the Max Landis script is really good, and I actually copied an excerpt out. There's a point where they escape together, like it's where she runs to him to escape. And then Max Landis puts in this, he says, savvy viewers will recognize a few of the configurations Pepe and Penelope get themselves into from the classic and controversial cartoons. We're leaving in the dust with this sick, awesome action sequence. So he even addresses in the movie like the controversy around her, hugging her really tight, and sort of does something really cool with action to sort of lead it in a different direction. So I really like the script overall. I could see it in my head, and it's a shame that they're not making this movie, and they're making that god awful movie Space Jam 2 that is just literally to sell toys. I'm not a fan.
Well said. Vito, what's your...
Vito! Hi, I'm Lewis now. What was I going to say?
I was reading a comment.
It is true. What is being said is that Max very correctly anticipated what the problematic aspects of the Pepe Le Pew character are. If you are going to make it a kids movie, again, as we discussed, the Looney Tunes were not always a kids franchise, and now it's kind of, okay, yeah, it's basically for kids now. Adults, we watch Family Guy and South Park or whatever else. But so he's found a way to make it kid-friendly and kind of turn things on its head. It's not about, a guy chasing down women. He's found a way to take those tropes and kind of invert them. And it was interesting. It was smart. It was definitely the right way to do it if you were going to make a Pepe Le Pew movie. But instead, I get to watch whatever this Space Jam thing is. With every Warner Brothers franchise plays basketball, I guess.
Of course.
Good.
Well, there you have it. I'm clipping this for YouTube's sake. If you haven't already subscribed to Vito, go subscribe to Vito. YouTube/Vito, Vito. And go support Paul, too, at Halogen Helix on YouTube for both of their takes on things as he's wiping his sweat off the camera.
I'm just making sure that you got the most beautiful image of me. And if you'd like more of me, of course, youtube.com/Vito.
Yep, Vito and Paul, thank you both for being here and reading it quickly. I couldn't finish it as fast as you guys did, but I wanted to jump on this trending issue because I thought it was interesting. Look, people deserve a win when they can have a win. They're allowed. So there you go.
And
Tell
if
us
you
what
at home
think.
want to read the script, it might
can.
still be on Max Landis' Instagram.
Depending on how long he keeps it up. But there you go, Up to My Knees, 1985. Apparently, Max is also teaching screenwriting courses for charity. So he is trying to do some good out there. So keep up the good work, Max. I hope you are doing good stuff. Not here to judge.
Max,
don't
I got
offer
some
any more
scripts to
hate.
pitch you. Come my way.
Yeah, look, enough hate. We need more conversations, and there you go. So if you want to check them out, you can. And that's what we got. Make sure you also subscribe here if you haven't already. If you're watching the live stream, what are you waiting for? Go double check. Make sure you are subscribed and that the alerts are on. All that jazz is can't and to keep this down. Oh God, what's going on here? I'm going to regather myself. But if you have been watching this on the replay, you missed us. We're live every Tuesday. Next week, Jamie Kennedy will be here live. So join us. Hit the subscribe. Be here and stay tuned for more. If you're watching live, don't go anywhere. We're coming right back.